Hey, what's up, my friend? Welcome back to Project Unchained. The other day, I got to record an amazing podcast with Nate Feathers. Nate is a dad, and we had a really cool conversation about a lot of things us dads have to face and work through to support our kids. One of the big things that I love about Nate's messaging is that we need to, as dads, create a paradigm shift in how we choose to show up and parent and support our kids. And that shift is to being collaborative with our kids rather than authoritarian with our kids. Before I get into what I want to talk about, I want to share with you a little bit of a clip from that recording and from that podcast. I wish I had the video to show you. I just have the audio, so, here it is.
Finn's having a real rough time, still trying to figure out what's going on. He's 8 years old, and he is like, I don't know. It's this week. It could just be exhaustion. Some of it's like, you need to eat, you need to sleep. Let's make sure it's all of those things are okay first. But it's been a struggle like this week, just full on not. He's like, I don't even know why I'm crying. And when you get to a kid actually able to say, I don't know why I'm crying. Okay, man. Old me, and I could feel it in the car last night. I could feel old me rising up, like, just shut it off. You're crying for no reason. And I could feel that rising. And I was like, that is not anything that kid needs to hear. And that's my internal conversation. Yeah. Talking to old Nate going, you don't get to come out. Whatever that is gotta go, because that's not right. And so instead, the thing I said was, hey man, we're all on the same team in this car. Like in the Jeep, in this family, you're on our team. We are the safe place. So if you need to cry, you cry. That's what you do. But you need to get that out of you, because your body stores all that sadness if you try to hold it all in. So don't store it. I said to him, because he's the kid that'll tear his shirt off and say, we got to work out, Dad. I said to him, I said, man, your muscles won't get as big if you hold all your sadness in, because that's where they store it. And so I was like, let it out. And old Nate would have been like, shut that crap off. I'm sick of listening to it. You got no reason to cry. You got no reason to be acting this way. All because I just wasn't paying attention to the way things, like I wasn't paying attention to how kids work. And now I do. And I said that to my daughter, because she's like, he's like me. And I said, yeah, and you run and hide and cry. Like even to this day, you do that. And she's like, I don't cry. And I was like, She's like, yeah, I do. And I said, yeah, and you hold it in, because the dad you had told you to suck it up. And I'm sorry. I was like, I'm sorry that I said that, and you need to know that this is the same conversation I had with the 8-year-old. This is the safe place for you, and you're 17, but this is the safe place for you. You cry with us, because we're safe.
That hit me. There was this moment there where both him and I shared this heaviness, this heavy-heartedness, and I told him that, it hit me, and all these things that he was saying were things that the little boy in me needed to hear when I was a kid. And it was really overwhelming, and we cried together and bonded together in that moment, and it was great. It was absolutely powerful for both of us to experience. And there's a big thing from this moment that I really want to highlight that I think is really important, particularly for us dads that are usually the authoritarian, the disciplinary. We got to whip these kids into shape and they're going to do their chores. There's a better way to go about it. In short, we have to connect with our kids. Connection over correction. When we fail to connect with our kid, particularly when they're in this heightened emotional state, we create fear in them, and they don't want to be with us. And that should suck. That should make you angry. That should hurt you. It hurts me. And I want to do things different. I want to help people discover how we can do things different. And that's where all this work comes in, right? This is the idea of sharing different ideas and different perspectives so that we can show up as our best version, so we can show up to our kids and support them on an emotional level. Every kid has emotions and they don't necessarily know how to express them. And so it seems a little bit chaotic. And that's where we as parents and dads need to support them where they're at and come down into their emotional storm and be with them and connect with them where they're at before we try and change what it is that they're doing. So the idea is less control over what they are doing or not doing or anything like that, and more connection. And when we cultivate that connection with them, we're going to be in a much better position to guide and lead them towards these different things that we may be wanting them to do, whether it be their chores or whatever it is. But we're going to have a more impactful and more powerful influence on them when we are connected emotionally with them and not just trying to make them do things because we want them to do things. They're not going to understand it the same way we do. And we, as the emotionally mature adult, have to drop down and meet them where they're at and build them up. When we create this emotional safe space for them to express themselves however they need to express themselves, that safety, and creating that safety gives that connection. It brings you together, it brings a bond that cannot be formed in any other way. And that's really important because it helps them have that safe space to express themselves so they don't go express it in unhealthy ways in other places that are not productive. And when we have a safe space to express ourselves in the ways that we need to express it, we don't learn how to suppress it. And if you haven't heard me say it before, suppression is depression. When we're not expressing ourselves and we're depressing and we're stuffing all those feelings down and avoiding them, the buildup of that is what leads us to feeling like shit. That's what leads us to feeling like we are unworthy. That's what leads us to feeling like we're not enough. That's what leads us to feeling and being in a state of depression. The suppression. So we're doing really powerful work when we allow our kids to express themselves, even if we might be uncomfortable with it. So what? When we give them that safe space to express, man, we are setting them up for a lifetime of emotional well-being. And that's one of the most important things that I believe we can do and guide them towards as fathers. How you are contributing to cultivating and creating that safe space for your kid is going to have a significant impact on their long-term mental well-being. What do you choose? Do you want to set them up for a lifetime of feeling good about themselves? Or do you want to hand them a shit sandwich? And do you want them to feel unworthy and unloved because you needed to be authoritarian and do your job? The job is to connect with them. And gentlemen, we need to step up. Look, me too. There's ways that I recognized after I got off that podcast with Nate, like, I need to do better. I can show up better for Rosalie. I know I can. And I just need to choose to do it. I need to continue to do this work. I need to continue to elevate my own emotional intelligence so that I'm not reacting to hers and I'm supporting her rather than controlling her. And you look at a lot of the statistics out there for people that get into trouble, breaking the law, stealing, robbery, whatever, violent crimes, different things of that nature. You see a parallel. You see that people that tend to fall down that path are coming from fatherless homes. What about as well the father being there but not being fully present? What about the father being there but not creating emotional safety? Like, that's another level that we need to show up. It's not enough if we're in the picture. We're not babysitters. We're co-parents. We're supposed to show up as another half to the mom. We need to have an opinion. It can't just be I default to mom, whatever mom says. No, we need to show up and connect. That's what the point is. That's where we need to go with all of this. When we do that, We set them up for a lifetime of positive emotional well-being. So gentlemen, the time is now. We need to show up. We need to show up in a different way. I want to encourage you and challenge you to go connect with your kids. Go create some safe space for them, particularly in the state of an emotional distraught, when they're upset about something and they're going crazy and you can't understand why they're going crazy. It doesn't matter if you can't understand where they're at. Drop down to where they're at on an emotional level and connect with them. And when you can connect with them where they're at, that's when we can guide them forward, rather than just purely coming at it from a logical standpoint and saying, oh, that makes no sense for you to feel that way. No, we need to work to remove that vocabulary, remove that framing from our vocabulary. That's my challenge for you. Choose how you want to contribute to the emotional well-being of your kid. Do you want to show up and parent? Do you want to show up and be a really good, emotionally supportive dad? I do. And I'm going to be putting in that work, and I hope you want to walk that path with me so we can create a shift in paradigm and how us dads show up and parent, because that's going to have a massive ripple effect across the entire society on the mental health and well-being aspects and our limitations and breaking free from them. That's why we're here. So let's do it. Let's get unchained. Let's be better dads. Let's do it. Walk this walk with me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, reach out if you want to connect. I look forward to it. Have a great day.